Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all doing well. Now, if you did not see Wednesday's video, I'm going to link it below and I'm going to link it up here. I made these air dry clay gnome tree decorations. Now, utterly in love with them, and they are definitely a popular one, and you guys have showed so much love on them, so thank you so much. Now, today we are making a silicone mold of one of them. I say one of them because I don't have much silicone left, so I had to choose which one to try. Now, I didn't know at this point if we could actually mold air dry clay. I just didn't know. I haven't seen anyone do it, but here we are. This is the silicone I'm using. It will be linked down below. It's an easy one, ratio 1:1, non-toxic, safe. Yeah, let's go. I'm excited. So I stared at them for a while, working out which one I was going to use, and I'm actually using silicone release spray for the first time ever. I know thousands of resin artists use silicone release spray. I never have. I ordered some just to double up, you know, be super sure that I would be able to actually get this little man out of the mold. Yeah. So this is what I'm doing. I'm making an encasing for the gnome. I'm using foam board. I wasn't even aware we could use foam board. I've seen it recently on a video and I just thought genius, because foam board is kind of like a cheaper material than the plastic I was using. And all I'm doing is I'm creating a box. Now, it was only when I was editing this video I really noticed that I wasn't holding it up against any lines, so I'm sorry, I was eyeballing it with my blade and just making sure that I could get all of the edges pretty much in line with the flat bottom. That big one there is going to be the base, and these are all going to be the side walls. Again, I'm not sure if silicone comes away from foam board really easily. You know, I have the release spray, but I'm also almost out of silicone and I didn't want to risk anything going wrong because this was a one shot. I only had one shot at this, otherwise it was game over and it would have been a waste of silicone. So what I did do is actually cover all of the foam board in tape. So I lined up all four walls and I practically taped the life out of them. And this mould can be used again because when it comes to demold, you'll see I didn't destroy it, which is amazing. So I taped around the sides, up the back, around the bottom, and I made sure that there were no gaps where the silicone could seep out as well, because again, I knew I didn't have much left. So this is what I did. I'm not going to stick the gnome down because the gnome itself is pretty heavy, and I knew that if any seeped underneath, it really wouldn't be much. In hindsight, here is what I would do differently next time. I would definitely make the mold smaller. I possibly would put in some angles in there. It would have taken longer to make one that was very much in line with the gnome. See the corner where the hat is? There's a lot of what I would call empty space, and that took a lot of silicone. So if you are doing this, again, I'm very much a newbie to silicone mold making. I'm not a professional by any means. I would definitely, if I did this again, make it so that the mold was quite hugging. It was hugging the actual gnome so that I would waste less silicone. I'm pretty sure that, yeah, I would do that differently next time. Here you see me, it's 1:1, so I'm just measuring out equal parts. I have a little bit of silicone left, and I mean little bit. It's not going to do much, but I've got a tiny bit left. I wasn't sure how much this mould was going to take, so again, this is eyeballing. Everything is eyeballing, and you just have to really mix. Now, this silicone has got a 40-minute work time. I didn't feel like I needed 40 minutes. I stirred for a solid 5 minutes just to make sure that both part A and part B were fully combined, and I felt like that is all I could do. Now, I've got you zoomed in at a different angle. I am pouring from high up. I am pouring from, I want to say, 2 feet off the desk. If you pour from really high up, what it does is reduces air bubbles in your silicone, and that is all I know, my friends. Again, I don't know much. I don't know much, but what I do know gets the job done. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, here we are. I am filling up the mould, and I'm just keeping it in one spot so that the silicone can do its thing and work its way into all of the nooks and crannies that are carved out of the gnome. I don't want to move it all around because, again, you could produce air bubbles, and you can see the air bubbles now rising to the surface, which is really great. And it was at this point I realised I did not make enough. The nose, the little nose, was still poking out of the top. So I used up every last drop that I had in those bottles, and thank you. It was just enough to cover that nose. I honestly could not be happier at this point. And I left it, so it's got a 4-hour cure time. I left it for around about 7 hours, just to be sure. And this was the demold. This was the part, oh my gosh, I was so nervous about. But as soon as it came away from that first wall, I knew it would come away from the whole thing, because the tape on this was real, and I knew that it's okay, Claire, you done it, you did it. The question for me was whether or not the gnome would come out of it. I did give it a generous spray of the mould release spray. Before I poured the silicone, I gave it a generous spray of the mould release spray. And I don't think I caught that on camera, but it was in there, guys. It was definitely in there, and I was just hoping at this point that it would do the job, and here we have it. So yeah, getting the base off was tougher than getting the sides off, but again, it all came away. It all came away pretty nicely. Now here you can see some seepage underneath. That is most likely because it is air dry clay, and the bottom was not utterly flat. It would help if the bottom was totally flat. It wasn't. It was a handmade air dry clay gnome, and of course I had moved it many times before it cured. So here you see me just using a craft knife to get all of those seeped edges off. Again, not hard to do. It's really not hard to do. The silicone is super squishy, and it came away pretty much like a dream. The only area I was worried about then was the hole where you thread the ribbon. I was like, if I pull on this, that's just all gonna come out. So yeah, had to get in at an angle and slide it across like you see me doing here. Yeah, I was worrying for nothing. I really was worrying for nothing. Again, I'm very new to this, so I was just so excited that I'd done it. I was like, you better come out of here. I was talking to myself. I was talking to the gnome. You better come out of here. You better come out of here. But talking about silicone, kind of empty space silicone, you can see how much silicone that corner took. And I feel like, as I was saying at the beginning, if I did this again, I would definitely bring the mould in closer to the gnome. And I'm so happy at this point because it's coming away like a dream. I ended up getting a bit stuck where the hat loops over in that bit there. I was worried about that. It was getting a little bit stuck in there. But look at this. Oh my gosh. I was so happy. I was like, I've done it. I've actually done it. Now, because I've never used silicone mould release spray before, it has got a layer of what feels like oil. I was so happy though. Yeah, this is voiceover Claire commenting on my hand gestures there. But I just went round with my blade and I got rid of all of the fiddly little bits. There were gaps around the nose where the silicone seeped down in, so I cut them off and just tidied up the edges, and that was it. But yeah, if you have used silicone mould release spray, This mould was now coated in like a gloopy, oily texture. Now, I used a wet wipe to try and wipe it off, but I couldn't get it off. So your advice here would be really, really helpful. Do you give your moulds a soapy bath? Do you put them in some hot water with some soap to get that residue from the spray off? That's what I'm asking you guys. I mean, yeah, I just want to make sure I'm doing the right thing. So I mixed up some jasminite because I could, and I figured I'd test the mould out. And I gave it a bit of a tap, a bit of a bash, and I waited 30 minutes, and here we are. 30 minutes later, it came away even better than the gnome came away from the silicone, and I have myself a duplicate replica. I am so happy. I'm happy because I made the gnome. So this is 100% my creation, moulded of my own creation. Usually I find other things to mould. Do you know what I mean? Pretty much similar to my nail salon kind of stand that I made a while back. If you didn't see that, I'll link that as well. But here I am. I'm just going to go around the edges, give it a bit of a sand. And how cute is this? You could then, you know, make a load. If you want to do a craft fair, make a load, sell them for people to paint themselves. Because you can now paint this with acrylic paint, and it's so exciting. I absolutely love it. If you found this video helpful, please do not forget to give me a thumbs up. That is how YouTube know. YouTube will push my video out if you have given it a thumbs up. So I really would appreciate if you went back and did that now. And yeah, leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know about the silicone spray, because it really did leave my gnome oily and it left my mould oily. So I would appreciate any advice on that. I guess it's okay to give it a hot soapy bath, but I would rather hear from someone who knows what they're doing, because I don't. I hope you've loved it as much as I have, and I will see you all in my next video, which is going to be epoxy resin. Epoxy resin Christmas. I am busting at the seams. I have the brand new mould from Moulds and Shapes. I have brand new resin from Vista. And I've also got some colours to test out. So yeah, I will see you all then, and have a great day. I'll see you then. Bye.
Told lies. I can only hope that Santa Claus and my records agree.